What's up everyone, John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here with an unboxing for you of a device that I'm really looking forward to, the Droid X for Verizon Wireless. This is going to set you back $199 and it'll be available July 15th. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dig into the package. Of course, we got the obligatory big ol' knife for this, and as I go through the phone, I'll cover the specs as well. We got some press material in there. I'll take a look at that a little later. Very small box here on the Droid X. Let's see what else we got. So it says Droid on the front, letting you know what it is. Verizon Wireless, built by Motorola. Some hearing compatible stuff, more about the phone, some specs, and pictures on the back. And that is about it for the box, but the box isn't what you want to see. Let's go ahead and take a look at the phone itself. And there she is in all of her 4.3-inch capacitive touchscreen glory. So let me talk about the specs a little bit first here. As I mentioned, 4.3-inch capacitive touchscreen with an 854 by 480 resolution, HDMI out, can take 720p video, 8 megapixel camera, dual LED flash with a mechanical shutter and image stabilization. 3G mobile hotspot capable, which is pretty nice. It's got, will have Flash 10.1 coming in the summer. It's got a 1 gigahertz OMAP processor, so this thing should be a screamer. 8 gigabytes of internal storage, expandable up to 40 with a 32 gig card, and the battery has about 8 hours of talk time. So this is definitely a powerhouse phone. Go ahead and pull it out. And I have not seen one of these yet, so we'll take a look at that in just a minute, and it is wide open inside. Pull back the box, and we have the battery and back cover. And if we get 8 hours of talk time, I'm going to assume that we're looking at a 13 to 1500 milliamp hour battery. But let's see if we can see what we got here. 3.7 volts. And we are looking at a 1500 milliamp hour battery, which you're going to need to power a device with a screen that big. So what else are we going to get in the box? We are going to get, of course, your USB charger, which is standard now micro USB. Little wall plug to plug that into. Some getting started guides in Spanish, and some consumer information. This is running sort of an updated version of Moto Blur with Android 2.1, although Android 2.2 will be coming. Let's go ahead and take a look at the phone itself. I'll pop the battery in, sort of pull it off, and get that very satisfying whooshing noise. And we will power this thing on. I'll do some size comparisons, and I'll walk you through the device while it's doing its initial boot up. You gotta pull that. Alright. Pull out, so let's go ahead and push that in. Take the back off, and the back looks very similar to the original Droid, sort of that Motorola metal. Pull that out of the package, or at least attempt to. Let's see how thin or how thick this device actually looks. Peel off the plastic. Once you can figure out how this goes. Assuming it goes a little something like this. And then slides into place, and it does. So let's see what we got here on the phone itself. So we actually have some physical non-capacitive buttons here on the phone, sort of your standard Android array with a mix of Moto Blur. So you've got a menu button, a home button, a back button, and a search button. Of course, that huge 4.3-inch capacitive touchscreen. On the left-hand side, you've got your charging micro USB port and HDMI out. The back, there we see the HD video and 8 megapixel camera with the dual LED flash. They've got a speaker grill on the side. On the right hand side of the phone, volume toggle up and down, and it looks to be a hard button, which I assume is probably going to be for the camera. It does have a bit of a sort of a hump to it. Take a look, but the device does feel to be very thin. 3.5 millimeter headset jack and power and lock button. So let's check out the size of this thing against some of its competitors and perhaps friends. We've got its 4.3-inch toting distant cousin here, the Evo 4G. And we've got, for further comparison, the iPhone 4. And you can see that the iPhone 4 is just dwarfed by these two. Let's do a thickness comparison so we can see. The phone is relatively thin, save for that little bit of a hump right there, which actually may help when you try and pull it out of your pocket. Let's compare it with the iPhone 4. And the phone does appear to be relatively thin if you take a look at it. And if you put sort of them all together, you can get a superphone sandwich and see that they are very thin devices. Let's go ahead and kick this thing on, and I'll be doing a full sort of overview of the software here since this does have an updated version of Moto Blur. So you can see what this looks like, but let's just power it on very quickly. And certainly stay tuned for a ton more coverage on the Droid X. This is a phone that I've really been looking forward to. I think it's great that sort of these super phones are making their way to multiple carriers, and it's going to be an awesome addition to Verizon's lineup. So I'll go ahead and let this power on, and I'll cut out sort of the fluff here of it booting. That scary little droid eye. And then here we are, welcome to Android. So I'll be doing a ton more coverage of the Droid X in the coming days, so be sure to stay tuned. There's going to be a lot to talk about here with this phone. And be sure to check out technobuffalo.com for all that coverage. For exclusive content, check me out at Twitter, twitter.com/John4Lakers. I am John Rettinger, and I will see you in the next video.